Hello, I'm PJ Browning, President and Publisher of the Pulitzer Prize-winning newspaper, the Post and Courier in Charleston, South Carolina. Founded in 1803, the Post and Courier has continuously served our readers for more than 2 centuries. Along the way, as South Carolina's largest media company, we've adapted many times to the changing needs of our readers. And no doubt we will continue to change and grow. But one thing that has never changed is our commitment to providing quality, transparent, integrity-based journalism to the communities we serve. Today, I have the pleasure to be coming to you from the campus of the College of Charleston, an institution that is no stranger to change. Yet at the same time, it's also renowned for its centuries-old liberal arts tradition. The College of Charleston, founded in 1770, is the oldest university in the state of South Carolina, and it's the 13th oldest in the country. So like the Post and Courier, it's seen its fair share of history. In its 251 years of existence, the College of Charleston has found itself both on the right side and the wrong side of history, a reflection of our city as a slave capital in early America and as a bastion of Jim Crow. Today, the College of Charleston is doing extraordinary work to reconcile its past with its present and its future. Under the leadership of its 23rd president, Andrew Shue, who took the helm in spring of 2019, the College of Charleston has already taken many strides in becoming a national university driven by innovation. I think it appropriate that we, the Post and Courier, as journalists, use this moment to reflect on the College of Charleston's complicated past while also outlining the college's exciting present and future. We're going to present to you a range of the university's faculty expertise, highlight a few remarkable graduates and alumni, and showcase some of its extraordinary student talent. All of this is just a drop in the bucket for understanding and appreciating this great institution. The College of Charleston is a point of pride not only for our beloved city and the Lowcountry region, but for our entire country. The story of the College of Charleston is very much the story of the United States of America. It is a story of contrast, a story of resilience, and a story of hope. And through its example, we have much to learn and we have much to look forward to. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with President Shue with the College of Charleston, and we're going to talk about the 250th and some of his goals that he sees as we move forward. We are, if you're all right with it, since we're socially distanced, we may be able to be heard better if we take off our mask as long as you're comfortable.
Of course.
We've set it up to be that way, but
yeah, we're more than 6 feet apart, so we should be okay.
Yes, thank you. Well, so all the way from Toledo, Ohio. My first question is, how are you enjoying this weather versus that in Toledo?
You know, I'm used to on early March, still having big snowstorms in Toledo. So this beautiful weather is so nice. Such a good change for me.
Well, welcome to the Lowcountry and welcome to Charleston.
Thank you, PJ.
So I've got a few questions for you.
Sure.
And so I'll just start and we'll go from there.
Of course.
Right? Okay, in 2019, you became the 23rd president of the College of Charleston. And since your arrival, what stood out about the college and what makes it so special?
You know, in addition to being in the most beautiful city and having the most beautiful campus, I think its people is probably really distinguishing this place. The College of Charleston has one of the best faculty in the country, and they're brilliant teacher scholars. They do a lot of good research, but also, most importantly, they're very good mentors to our students. So. Good. Such a special place.
It is a special place, and we're very fortunate to have it in the Lowcountry for sure. I know one of your first major achievements was working with the campus to create a new 10-year strategic plan, and I believe called Tradition and Transformation. Can you tell me a little bit about the vision of that plan?
Sure. Our vision for the next 10 years is to develop the college into a national university having it recognized as redefining liberal arts education with innovation, through innovation. And as you know, this is already a great university with great faculty, great students, great staff. But we're now known as a regional university. We are already doing a lot of very impressive things at the national level and international level, whether it's sending our students off to all over the world and making a difference in the world, to doing outstanding research that is attracting national and international attention. So I think, and we think as a campus, it's time for us to be recognized as a national university.
Yeah, I love the idea of innovation and how you guys are bringing that in, and actually, the whole tie between faculty and staff, and I think that's really interesting.
Right.
Why do you think the College of Charleston becoming a national university and really redefining the liberal arts through innovation is important to our city or our region or even our state?
Sure. Charleston is no longer just a tourist destination. It might be 20, 30 years ago, but since all the high-tech industry, manufacturing industry, such as Boeing, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, and so forth, they moved to the Charleston region, the Low Country, making this now an international center for high-tech industry and manufacturing, high-tech manufacturing. So the city has already arrived as an international city. And as many thinkers say, every great city needs a great university. And we think that the College of Charleston really should be that great university for this great city that is Charleston.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Are there any specific goals or directives tied to the strategic plan?
So certainly, our strategic plan is divided into 3 pillars. And those 3 pillars are student success, academic distinction, and faculty and employee success. So, under those 3 pillars, we have developed 3 cross-cutting themes. And the 3 cross-cutting themes are, first of all, innovation. We want to be known for innovation. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. That's so important for higher public institution. And the last one is for us to better engage and better partner with our local community, local industry. As I said, this city has already become a international center for industry, high-tech industry, software industry, manufacturing, aerospace, automobile, and so forth. It's so important for our student to learn through experience working with these international companies so that they can be well prepared, responsible citizens, but also contributing to the local economy. So therefore the third is cross-cutting theme is engagement and partnership.
Yeah, I think that's very important, and it's so nice to see the tie between the college and higher education and certainly what's going on in the city.
And the partnership between us and Post and Courier is an example of that.
Well, thank you for including us. We like to be a part of that. A lot of important things come out of this college, so we appreciate that. So I guess, as a newcomer to the Low Country, tell me, what's your favorite thing to do so far?
Well, my favorite thing so far is really just roaming the beautiful, holy city and then roaming the beach.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else that you would like to add that maybe I didn't ask?
Well, this is an exciting year, 250th anniversary, and not many schools have reached that milestone. Only 12 other schools had reached that milestone in the entire U.S. So
amazing.
It's quite an achievement that we have been a vibrant institution for this long. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in its next 250
Well, we're
years.
certainly excited that you're here, and we're excited to celebrate this under your leadership, and we wish you the best of luck, and obviously if the Post and Courier can be a partner to you, we will. So thank you very much for
Thank you,
your time today.
PJ. So good to see you today.
Over the past 250 years, many of the College of Charleston's alumni have reflected honor upon our alma mater. However, without question, our most distinguished alumnus is John C. Fremont, class of 1836. Many historians rank him among the most influential Americans of the 19th century. He led 5 expeditions mapping the western United States and establishing the Oregon Trail. He secured California as a U.S. territory, served as its first governor, and became its first United States senator upon statehood. He was the first Republican candidate for president. He was an avowed abolitionist and served as a Union general in the Civil War, writing an Emancipation Proclamation from Missouri 16 months before President Lincoln issued one. A few years later, he served as the 5th governor of Arizona. Fremont was admitted to the college in 1829 at the age of 16, easily passing the entrance exams. He proved particularly adept in mathematics and natural sciences. However, just a few weeks before Fremont was to graduate in 1831, he fell in love. As he recalled in his memoirs, Fremont stopped attending class. The faculty were not amused and refused to grant him a diploma. So Fremont left Charleston, joined the Army, and spent the next 5 years learning astronomy, geology, surveying, and map making. In 1836, the College of Charleston faculty relented and granted Fremont a diploma. In 1848, the city of Charleston presented Fremont with this beautiful parade sword in recognition of his many accomplishments in the West. The engravement reads, "Presented by the citizens of Charleston to Lieutenant Colonel John Charles Fremont in memorial of their high appreciation of the gallantry and science he has displayed in his service in Oregon and California." End quote. Keep in mind, he was only 35 years old at the time. Fremont obviously treasured his sword, as he displays it proudly with his full dress uniform in this 1862 photo by Matthew Brady. The Arizona Historical Society generously loaned the sword to the college in recognition of its 250th anniversary. Most Charlestonians are unaware the college can claim such an influential figure among its alumni. However, if you travel to California, Nevada, Arizona, or Oregon, you will see Fremont's name everywhere on cities, counties, schools, and streets. As alumni, we should be extremely proud to share our diploma with someone who has had such a profound effect on our nation's history.
Dating back to 1843, the College of Charleston school ring design is derived from the City of Charleston seal. It features Latin phrases meaning wisdom itself is liberty, and she watches over her buildings, her customs, and her laws. The seated woman is a personification of Charleston. She is presenting a laurel wreath to a student holding a diploma in front of Randolph Hall. The date, 1770, is the year the college was founded. The fiancé of the first woman graduate of the college had a replica of his ring made for her in 1922, and the tradition of men and women wearing the same ring continues to this day.
My ring connects me to the school's esteemed past and vibrant future.
It creates an immediate bond with every new cougar who crosses my path.
And it always brings me back to the college.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lauren Saucer, and I'm the Health and Science Editor at the Post and Courier in Charleston, South Carolina. My guest is Dr. John Tisdale, who graduated from the College of Charleston in 1986 with a degree in chemistry. He went on to earn his medical degree from the Medical University of South Carolina. Dr. Tisdale is the senior investigator and branch chief of the Cellular and Molecular Therapeutic Branch at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. This is one of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland. He has devoted a large part of his career to developing a successful treatment for sickle cell disease. For our viewers who may not know, sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder that affects millions of Americans, particularly Black Americans. Dr. Tisdale is working on multiple strategies, both in the laboratory and in the clinic, to cure sickle cell disease, which some experts estimate affects 8 to 10% of the African-American population in this country. This disease and the inherited trait disproportionately impacts African-Americans. Is there a reason for that? Or I should just say Black people in general across the globe?
Right, so this disease affects people who come from places where malaria is endemic. So the malaria parasite gets into red cells, and that's part of its life cycle. And if you have this misspelling, just one copy, then you're much more resistant to death from malaria. So it actually, it's an evolutionary protection against malaria. And so in sub-Saharan Africa, where malaria is pandemic, it got selected for. So, people of African descent are, more likely to inherit a copy of this protective misspelling of the part of the hemoglobin molecule. But if they inherit two copies, one from mom and one from dad, then they have this very severe disease, sickle cell disease.
For something that impacts so many people, not only in this country and across the world, and can be deadly, why haven't more resources and brain power been devoted to it over the past decades? I mean, this is something that we've known about for a long time, right?
So we've known about this for more than a century. The first case report was over 100 years ago. And in fact, we've known about the molecular basis for more than half a century. Linus Pauling described sickle cell as a molecular disease in 1949 when he noticed that the hemoglobin molecule was different with patients than controls. So the molecular basis has been known for all this time. And in fact, it's held up as, you know, the prototype for a disease for which a molecular cure might be feasible. And in fact, there has been a lot of work in trying to figure out how to bring a molecular cure to this disease. It's just that it's been hard. It's also true that research funding, you know, until recently has lagged behind other genetic diseases. For example, cystic fibrosis, which affects predominantly white children, gets about $10 for every $1 of research money sickle cell disease gets.
Tell me about Dr. Tisdale before he was Dr. Tisdale. What were you like as an undergrad at the college?
So when I was at the College of Charleston, I was working at McAllister Funeral Home on 150 Wentworth Street. It's now a thing of the past. I got a job there, and I worked every third night, and I would work the visitations. And I lived there as a part of my pay, and I think I made like $15 a month or something like that. It was some ridiculously small amount of money. And so I worked there at night, and it was just around the corner from the college, so that was really convenient for me. So you know, there was no dorm life for me. We didn't allow visitors in the funeral home. So but I also played music, played in several bands to help, you know, pay tuition. So we practice on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We would actually, the drummer Brian Rutenberg was an art student there, who's quite a famous artist now, and he had a room on the third floor of the Fine Arts Building, and we would practice there at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We would go in at closing time, and once the door closed, we would go practice. I'm not sure that was actually okay, and no one knew because it was closed by the time we started making music. But and we'd play on the weekends. We played for, you know, some of the local bars and you know, fraternity parties and what have you. You know, I also developed a real passion, which I keep to this day, for sailing. John McAllister, the owner of the funeral home, had a boat in the harbor there, and on Fridays at noon, we'd go sail. So that was a ritual for me all through college, was to go sailing on Fridays in Charleston Harbor.
At what point did you decide you wanted to study medicine?
My freshman year, I thought I wanted to study medicine, but honestly, I had never taken school very seriously, and wasn't sure if I could, you know. So I did fine in school, coming up all the way through high school, but I never really tried to make good grades, and you know, my grades were okay. And I knew to go to med school, you had to, you know, have mostly A's, all A's, test well, that sort of thing. And I wasn't sure if I could do that, because I'd never tried before. So, you know, my first year was kind of like, okay, can I do this? And yeah, it ended up working out.
Did you have a particular teacher that you distinctly remember as an undergraduate who really helped shape you into the person that you became?
Yeah, so I mean, the person that comes to mind is Rick Heldrick, as an organic chemistry professor. he was quite young at the time. We used to call him the boy wonder. I mean, it was just amazing. It was really tough, but also really amazing. I mean, he made you understand. You know, you could not pass his course by memorizing. You had to understand. And he was really gifted at making you understand. I mean, you could just go to the board with a piece of chalk and, you know, explain organic chemistry, which still to this day blows my mind. I think it must be much easier now with all the different ways that you can depict structures of molecules and what have you. But, you know, the forcing you to really think through things is just, you know, for me, it's stayed with me, you know, and it's, you know, it's what I do with my students in the lab as well is to make, you know, it's not enough to just learn how to do things. They have to learn why and what are the theoretical underpinnings of what they're doing. So yeah, he's always really stood out for me.
Tell me a little bit about what kind of student you were in high school and what advice you would give high school students who are about to enter college.
Well, in high school, I was mostly interested in playing music and, you know, hanging out with my friends, not so interested in school. So I would say if you find yourself in that situation, don't count yourself out. You know, we all blossom at different times in our lives, and you know, I think if you're really interested in doing something, then it's never too late to go for it. And you know, I'm a prime example. You know, I think a lot of kids in high school now are feeling so much pressure to have the grades, to have the SATs or whatever it is, and volunteer work, and you know, it's just it's oppressive even to even, you know, allow you to think about what you really want to do, because there's so much pressure to do something else. But you know, if you have a passion, I would say, you know, it's never too late to go for it and to really apply yourself. I waited until I was a freshman in college to try studying. It ended up working out, and you know, I was lucky that I, you know, had such a great college just around the corner. So I mean, yeah, I'd say don't count yourself out. It's
well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and on behalf of the Post and Courier and the College of Charleston Alumni Association, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hello.
Marhaba.
Salve. Hola, bienvenidos.
Здравствуйте.
Buongiorno.
Hajimemashite.
Kare.
Bonjour.
I love the College of Charleston because it gives me a chance to express my identity in multiple forms.
The College of Charleston allows me to pursue my personal interests while making an impact on my community.
What I love about the College of Charleston is the amount of opportunity and sense of community that we have here.
I was really happy to see so many languages and so many cultures at College of Charleston being offered to study and to learn.
I love the College of Charleston because of the small class sizes and the close relationships that I've been able to form with my advisors, my professors.
Everyone is here helping each other succeed and find new experiences and opportunities all the time.
So I feel like I really have a home here, and I've gotten to make some really meaningful connections.
And I feel like there's something to do for everyone here.
Expected is bankers waiting for your call.
4:59, close enough.
Unexpected is your banker working for you when times are tough to help your local taco shop stay open. And then showing up to order too many tacos from your business.
Thank you so much for everything.
Of course, my pleasure.
She's loved those tacos since day one.
Can I get 2 dozen veggie tacos?
Yep, that should be enough for the weekend. helping the smallest businesses in our communities. TD Bank, unexpectedly human.
I'm Scott Sharp, Regional Vice President for TD Bank, and we are excited to serve as the Platinum sponsor of the College of Charleston's 250th anniversary celebration. TD Bank has a long-withstanding commitment to supporting the communities in which we live and serve. We are pleased to support many worthwhile causes in the Charleston area and make positive local impact through community sponsorships, our TD Charitable Foundation, and employee volunteer hours. We are grateful for the long-withstanding partnership we've had with the College of Charleston through TD Arena. And we are proud to be one of the first companies to step up and support the fundraising efforts of the International African American Museum. We'd like to congratulate the College of Charleston on this incredible milestone, and we're excited to join in the celebration with you. And now it is my honor to introduce Bernard Powers with the College of Charleston and Brian Hicks from the Post and Courier for an exciting interview. Please enjoy. Thank you very much.
I'm Brian Hicks, columnist with the Post and Courier, and I'm honored to be joined today by the legendary Professor Emeritus of History at the College of Charleston, Dr. Bernard Powers, the founding director of the college's Center for the Study of Slavery in Charleston, author, historian, and I'm glad you didn't have anything else to do but to stand around and talk to me.
Well, listen, I'm pleased to be here with you, Brian Hicks, distinguished journalist for the Post and Courier, and one of the main contributors to the editorial page. I appreciate your writing and your interest in this subject and all of that. So thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. Can you tell us a little bit about the spot we're standing on and its significance?
Yes, this area, which is right behind the College of Charleston Library, the Addlestone Library, was once, and by once I mean beginning about 1790, was the site where there was a significant African-American series of burial grounds, cemeteries that were located here. And we know that, for example, the Brown Fellowship Society actually they had a meeting house on this location, and there was also a cemetery where there were enslaved people and free blacks that were interred on these grounds. And eventually the land was sold to Bishop England Catholic School, and eventually the College of Charleston purchased it, and we are standing here right now on these very grounds.
I'm sure it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but in those days, a couple of centuries ago, this would not have been the middle of downtown Charleston. This would have been kind of out.
Yes, exactly right, exactly right. And so what we know today as Calhoun Street to our left and to our north was really called Boundary Street, because this was the northern edge of the city until the middle of the 19th century. And eventually it got the name Calhoun after John C. Calhoun.
Last year, the city marked its 350th anniversary. And one of the things I read from one Charleston historian was that this city, this settlement, was one of the first in North American history that used slavery almost from day one. Can you tell me a little bit about the significance of slavery for Charleston?
Yes, and Brian, that's such an important point with regard to the origins of slavery here. It cannot be stressed too much. And let me just amplify your question and point by saying that, for example, in Virginia, slavery developed eventually. Virginia settled in 1607. There are enslaved people we know there in 1619 and afterwards. But here's the difference with Carolina. Even before the settlers came here from England and Barbados, when they set forth the original constitution for this place, they planned for the use of enslaved Africans. It's written into the very organic law, what they thought would be the organic law of this settlement. And so this is the only one of the 13 original colonies And slavery existed in all of them. But this is the only one where, even before the settlers got here, they planned on the use of enslaved labor. Now, let's just carry that a little bit forward. We know that, for example, in the antebellum period, in the city of Charleston, when you compare the incidence of slaveholding in this place compared to other southern cities, slavery is much more deeply entrenched here. The other thing that I would say about slaveholding in the state is that on the eve of the American Civil War, South Carolina also demonstrated an extraordinarily high level of slaveholding. In fact, the rate of slaveholding in South Carolina was the highest rate in the entire South. And what that means is almost 50% of the white families in the state owned slaves. And that figure is about double the regional level of slaveholding, which is only about 25%. So it's almost double here. So slavery was deeply interwoven into the city and the state of South Carolina from the very beginning.
What can you tell me about the role of slavery in the beginnings of the College of Charleston?
Well, we know that enslaved people were used to work on some of the oldest buildings on the campus. Randolph Hall, for example, would have been a site where enslaved people were used to do some of the construction work. But we know even at the very beginning, before these grand buildings existed, for example, the first president of the college, Bishop Smith, Robert Smith, was a large slave owner, and he used some of his enslaved people to do various things on the campus related to construction and so on and so forth. So again, the college rose physically through the handiwork, at least in part, of enslaved people.
How does the college acknowledge that and recognize that today? Like the place we're standing, but just in general, what can the college do to?
Yeah.
What can the college do to acknowledge that past and put it out there so everyone understands what happened?
One of the things that the college has begun to do to bring some recognition to its role in slavery and the presence of enslaved African people here and in the vicinity is that in 2018 we started the Center for the Study of Slavery in Charleston, and we were inspired to do that because the same year we joined what's known as the University Studying Slavery Consortium, which started at the University of Virginia, and today it probably has about 50 different universities that are members, and we all recognize that in one way or other, our institutions have played an important role with the institution of slavery and other race-related issues, and those facts need to be acknowledged. And so we're members, along with 4 other universities here in the state of South Carolina. So we're members of that consortium. And we started our center because we wanted to do more than just join something. We wanted to create a freestanding organization that would really, in a sustained and ongoing way, recognize, acknowledge, publicize, and study in a systematic way the role of the institution of slavery here on campus and in the city because it did have a very special and important role here. And so we're doing a number of things through the center now. We have over 20 faculty members who are working with us on various committees. And we are, for example, in the academic research committee, we have some faculty members who are either themselves or in collaboration with students and other people. They're literally conducting research on the role of slavery here at the college and in the city and the connections between the two, going through documents, going through college records that are in historical societies, depositories, libraries in the area. And we hope that their results will be lectures, for example. We hope that their results will be used to further enhance the tours of this campus that are offered regularly to parents and prospective students. But also, once we put these tours together, they'll be available virtually as well as physically. It will entail marking some of the sites, some of the buildings and other places on campus that have and reveal an African American presence. There are buildings on the campus and places that formerly were owned by African American people, and so we want those places to be marked. And then we hope that our findings and our work here at the center will have an impact on the public schools. And we have already begun to work with some teachers and principals on integrating some of the findings from our research and the work of others into what's taught in K through 12 classrooms. And then finally, Brian, you know, we recognize that the kind of work that we're called to do here at the center, studying the institution of slavery, which obviously created harm and inflicted damage on people, we don't want this to be simply an academic exercise. But we also recognize that the social harms and the injustices that have been created needs to be repaired. And so we have a committee at the center that is working to try to discern some ways in which we can, in fact, make some restitution, repairs, and improve those harms that have resulted from the historical exploitation and oppression and the deep legacy of the institution of slavery. So we have our work cut out for us, but we have a lot of people who are working with us.
As acting CEO of the International African American Museum, what is going to be the museum's role in telling that story and impressing upon people the importance of that history?
Sure. The International African American Museum is going to play really a pivotal role in terms of exploring, explaining, publicizing, and educating people about the presence of Africans and African Americans here in Charleston and in the state. And Brian, we have at the museum, we have a number of partners that will work along with us and play critically important roles too. The Avery Research Center, part of the College of Charleston, is one of our major partners. A lot of the historic museums and, you know, the plantation museums, for example, the historical societies, the Preservation Society, Historic Charleston Foundation, all of these organizations right in our own community, we are collaborating and cooperating with them. And so you'll be able to look forward to joint efforts, lectures, workshops, demonstrations of a variety of kinds that we'll cooperate together with. And so we're really beginning to build the kind of synergy that will take the study of this experience and what it has meant for the history all the way down to the present in the city of Charleston to a whole new level. And the name International African American Museum, that term international is very meaningful, and we chose to incorporate that word into the title because of where we're located. We're in the city of Charleston, right downtown Charleston, and for a good deal of Charleston's history, for most of Charleston's history, it has been a cosmopolitan and international center, continues to be today. And so the experience of African people here in Charleston, in South Carolina, we're convinced can help us also explore the larger experience of African people that Charleston was connected to. That means throughout the rim of the Atlantic, Europe, Africa, as well as the Caribbean. So, you know, that's one of the things that far too few people understand. And that is that, you know, there's no separate American history and African American history. Just like there's no women's history and American history. There's no Jewish history and American history. They're all part of the same thing. So just to give you an example, you know, Thomas Jefferson buys Louisiana in 1803, but he is really able to do that because there was a successful slave rebellion that occurred on the island of Hispaniola, where Haiti and the Dominican Republic are located today. The Africans in what's today known as Haiti rebelled successfully against France, and it was the loss of Haiti that then motivated Napoleon to sell Louisiana to Thomas Jefferson. And you know, what that did was it literally doubled the size of this country. And so that's the way the international implications of what African people have done affect America, where we are right now. And so we know that the museum, which will be open in the middle of 2022, just a little bit more than a year from now, is going to have a huge impact in terms of bringing people together and understanding the way in which their lives, regardless of who they are, have been impacted by the experience of African people. So we're really looking forward to that opportunity.
Well, Dr. Powers, if I can speak for the community, I want to thank you for your research and your work in spreading this word. You've done a whole lot for this city and this community and history, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Brian, very much. It's been my great pleasure and opportunity to be here talking with you today, and appreciate all the work that you're doing too.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The College of Charleston has a proud athletics tradition dating back to the late 1800s. For more than 125 years, the College of Charleston student athletes, wearing the school colors of maroon and white, have represented this institution in a variety of competitive fields. On the hard court, the diamond, the pitch, the links, the track, cross-country paths, the riding arena, and the open water. It doesn't matter where or on what surface our teams and student athletes compete, the College of Charleston Cougars are always ready to bring their best. Win or lose, Cougars fight on. And it's in that fight, season after season, year after year, that we come to understand the role athletics play in the university experience. It teaches lessons of resiliency, of creativity, of discipline, of time management, of teamwork, and of self-reliance. Sports and that competitive fire can bring out the best in all of us, not just for the student athletes and coaches involved, but for our entire campus community. Sports serve as a shared rallying point and a point of pride for fans, alumni, and the larger Charleston community. And fortunately, as Cougars, we have many moments to remember and to celebrate. Across our sports at the College of Charleston, we have won national championships, conference championships, individual titles, and made many appearances in national tournaments. And throughout that competition, as Cougar fans know all too well, there are moments of heartbreak and moments of elation. Each competition is a chance for our Cougars to triumph, a chance for history-making glory. It's where potential meets opportunity, and the results are magnificent. This is the enduring beauty of sports at the College of Charleston.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Five, four, 3, 2, 1. Level up, 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 level up.
Check your act, level up, love yourself, level up, drop that weight, level up, it's time to win, level up.
Hit me.
Drop it while it's hot.
See me as I'm crazy, nothing I'm afraid of, and I can have it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
don't know you, but I need you. Smile.